This video is brought to you by a huge mountain of drugs. Araumi of the Dead Tide versus Meren of Clan Nel Toth, Nicol Bolas, and Araumi of the Dead Tide. That's not a great opening hand. Can we just hope that, we'll just hope that our opponents aren't too fast. Because I know if I mulligan that hand, I'm not going to draw into any mana. There's a good one for Meren. A Caustic Caterpillar on turn 1. Nicol Bolas just passes through the turn with a tap land. We get into Crucible of Worlds. Let's go for a tap land of our own and pass the turn over. No turn 2 play for Bolas either. It is a Wayfarer's Bauble for Meren. And then the insect comes in towards us. We get into another land. I'm not too bothered about getting down the Affetto Alchemist too early, so let's just play a tap land again and pass. Araumi went for a Mystical Tutor during our turn. They tutored for Entomb, so I'm assuming they've got a black land in hand. And they do, just play the swamp and pass the turn over. The first play from Nicol Bolas, a Rhystic Study. And in response, Entomb, put something in the graveyard. They obviously, that might suggest that they want to hold up that blue mana for something. They don't want to pay the tax into the study. So they might go for something else in response to that. It was a Stinkweed Imp, which is one of the best dredge options for black. And Caustic Caterpillar straight away going on to the Rhystic Study, so absolutely no value being gained from that whatsoever. And then a Jeweled Lotus coming down for Meren. So we'll probably see their commander here. And there she is, getting the Caustic Caterpillar back into hand at the end of the turn. So we go for a swamp here maybe. Yeah, let's go Buried Alive here, I think. And I think here we'll go for Gilded Drake, so that we can steal that Meren away. That's a point, actually. Meren, do you have to put the card back in your hand? Choose a target creature. Yeah, you have to return it back to your hand, so, or back into play, so yeah, we'll have to be careful stealing Meren away, but anyway, we'll go for that. We will go for the Muldrifter. And why don't we throw a Reef Worm in the bin as well. Tortured Existence from Araumi now. And they've somehow ended up... I didn't see how they did that. But anyway, they've got Peregrine Drake in the bin now. As well as Sir Comrade. Got some lands in there as well. It is a Commander's Sphere for the Nicol Bolas player. And there's the Caustic Caterpillar. That's going to be a hell of a problem throughout the course of the game. And now the Meren is turning in sideways towards the other Araumi player. And now Caustic Caterpillar getting sacrificed again and going on to the Tortured Existence. That means that they've got an experience counter, so the Caterpillar will come straight back into play under their control. They do not have the mana to activate it, unfortunately for them. Ancient Tomb... I imagine Thran Dynamo gets killed off next turn. But I think we just all have to pile in towards the Caustic Caterpillar as opposed to pussyfooting around it. So let's go for Urborg here. And yeah, like I said, I think we just have to play into the Artifact Hate here. So we'll go for Thran Dynamo and the Crucible of Worlds. Now Araumi of the Dead Tide coming down, and... they've got a couple of things to reanimate before we looked at Peregrine Drake and Sir Comrade the Grim. I'm just assuming that we're going to struggle to keep our commander in play due to the Merciless Executioners and things like that over on Meren's side of the field. Gilded Lotus from Nicol Bolas. And then a Phyrexian Arena, so there's a good few things for the Caterpillar to go after now. So do they want to concentrate on paying for the caterpillar, or do they want to try and get rid of Araumi? Well, we'll find out this turn. Well, starting off with a Farseek. Then finishing off the turn with a Pawn of Ulamog, so it looks like we're going to keep our mana this turn. The 3-3 or 3-4 Meren goes in towards the Araumi again. And the 1-1 Caterpillar goes in there as well, so wouldn't block the Caterpillar if I were you, just take the damage because they're trying to get themselves an experience counter here. They'll also get themselves into more mana with the Pawn of Ulamog, so yeah, deciding to block the Meren, I think that's the way to go there, just take the 1 damage from the Caterpillar. And then it's round to us, a Chromatic Lantern, so we've got both Urborg and the Chromatic Lantern for the Ancient Tomb. So let's just drop that. And I'm hoping that we're safe to go in for our Araumi here as well. So we'll go like that, go for the Chromatic Lantern, and then we can finish off the turn with Solemn Simulacrum. And hopefully there's too many targets for the Caterpillar at this point. Bond of Insight from Araumi. Each player mills 4 cards, return up to 2 instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to hand. They get themselves into a Feed the Swarm, Everflowing Chalice, Embodiment of Agonies. There is a Perpetual Timepiece as well. What have we milled there? Hedron Crab, Ideas Unbound, Ashiok I was hoping to draw into for the Meren player. That would have hurt the Araumi player as well, and a Drowned Catacomb as well. They got back the Mystical Tutor and the Entomb back into hand. And the Phyrexian Altar triggers over here. What did they mill? Some lands, an Izzik's Signet, and a Sleight of Hand. And using mill against the Meren player as well. Some lands, a Gaia's Cradle, and then there is a Butcher of Malakir as well. So I assume it is your typical Meren build that's going to be difficult to keep creatures in play with. And honestly, that seems to be the way the format's going, unfortunately. This used to be the format where you could just play big dumb creatures and turn them sideways and smash in at each other, but the format just seems to be getting to a point where you just want to be wiping the board and getting off combo wins every chance you get, or maybe even Super Friends here and there. Nicol Bolas Planeswalker. Now deciding to steal the Meren. Then it's round 2, the Golgari player's turn. They go straight through to attacks. Caustic Caterpillar comes in towards us. We will definitely take that damage. We'll take the damage from the Vampire as well. I don't know if they have some kind of like instant speed, death touch stuff. I'd rather just not lose our commander here, so I'll take the damage. Might also be that there's a board wipe. I mean, if they just want to swing in before a board wipe, you'd think they'd get rid of the Nicol Bolas. There might be some removal for stuff over here, but yeah, surprised they didn't try and get rid of the Nicol Bolas there. Now an Arcane Signet. Still chance for a board wipe. Cracking Wayfarer's Bauble. Okay, make it round to our turn. Let's drop the Drowned Catacomb from the bin. And I'm just wondering if we can take much advantage of Meren. If we steal the Meren with the Gilded Drake, we might be able to, although does Gilded Drake work the way I think it does here? Yeah, if we get a bunch of tokens it should do. I want to be able to get into the Nicol Bolas actually, so I think we just refill our hand with the Muldrifter. So we'll encore the Muldrifter, we'll get 3 copies of that, and we'll get 2 cards per copy that comes down. And they land. Drawing into Ravenous Chupacabra. Yawgmoth's Will might be useful if we mill into something that we can't very easily dig out of the bin. Snap Mage as well, so as soon as I exile a couple of things that I can get back with Snap Mage and Yawgmoth's Will, we draw into them. Alright, Emery Lurker of the Loch as well. It's good for if there's a mass board wipe, or we can get stuff back after a Caustic Caterpillar maybe. Alright, Alright, so let's just swing some stuff in. We'll go in towards the Nicol Bolas with the Solemn Simulacrum, and then these have to attack a player, the player that they're tied to, as opposed to a planeswalker they control, which is relevant, because it would be nice to take out Nicol Bolas here. So hitting each of our opponents for 2, Nicol Bolas goes down to 1 loyalty. Let's see about Emery is some self-mill, I think. Yeah, we mill 4 cards with her, so I think we'll get down the Emery. And she only costs 1 mana thanks to us controlling some artifacts. Alright, and hopefully we'll be able to make use of her, because there is a Lightning Greaves. I wonder if we just go Yawgmoth's Will here to get the Lightning Greaves. Could get Dimir's Signet as well. I'm not sure we can really rely on Emery sticking around. Yeah, so let's go for Yawgmoth's Will here. We'll grab the Dimir's Signet. And then we'll go Lightning Greaves as well. Put that on our commander. And that lands, thankfully. So we're tapped out now. We'll have to pass the turn at that. The Araumi player casting that Mystical Tutor that they grabbed back before. And they go for Reanimate this time. Casting Reanimate. Not sure what they are reanimating with it though. They've gone for their Peregrine Drake. And then casting the Entomb that they grabbed before as well. And with that they went for Solemn Simulacrum, which is really good to go for with Araumi. And they are going for the Solemn Simulacrum, so they will get 3 basics straight into play, and they'll draw 3 cards at the end of the turn when that gets sacrificed. Well, that's why I do my damnedest to rely on patrons. Obviously, if patrons aren't around, then I have to play with randoms. The Bolas player just went AFK, and I don't know if their client broke or whatever, and then Meren decided to concede after waiting for a few minutes. So it's down to myself and the Araumi player. I'm glad that I don't have to rely on getting this in untapped, because all of a sudden that comes in tapped. Let's see. What do we want to do this turn? I think there might be a few things we can do. If we start off with a Fetto Alchemist. And then I think maybe we make a Hedron Crab. So let's just get rid of the Morphic Pool here. And then cast the Hedron Crab. We'll only get 1 because we only have 1 opponent, but let's go for Misty Rainforest. We'll use that as a bit of self-mill here. And we mill 3, get ourselves into Phyrexian Triniform. Let's go for some self-mill again by cracking the Misty Rainforest. And okay, Frantic Search. We got into some lands and Frantic Search pretty much. Just for the hell of it, let's go Snap Mage. And we'll go for that Frantic Search as well. Tap down the Ancient Tomb in order to do it, so that we'll gain some extra mana here. Because we'll untap all 3 of our lands with Frantic Search. Draw into Teferi's Veil, that's good. I think we can just get rid of a couple of lands here. We'll surprise our opponent with a Strip Mine, so we won't show them that. Untap our 3 tapped lands. And then we'll tap down the Ancient Tomb again. Go for the Sol Ring. And then let's put haste on a Fetto Alchemist. And we'll untap our commander. Then let's just go after the Demon. Get rid of a land again. And when that comes in, we can destroy a non-demon creature, so we'll go after the Araumi. And I think we want to have Teferi's Veil in play here, so that we can keep that demon. Put the Greaves back on our commander just to protect that. And then just so that we can swing in with the Hedron Crab, I'm going to go in for the Ravenous Chupacabra as well, to get rid of the Peregrine Drake. I don't know if they want to clone that and do untap shenanigans with it. I mean, no one puts Peregrine Drake in the deck unless they're trying to go for combo wins. Alright, so actually let's give haste to the Ravenous Chupacabra as well. And then we can swing in with everything here. Our creatures that are attacking will phase out at the end of combat. So even with a board wipe, we'll keep Emery, Solemn Simulacrum, the Hedron Crab. This is mainly for the things that we encore. But it's good to be able to keep things like Emery, just in case there is some kind of artifact removal. Not very likely against a Dimir player, but you never know. Oh, and that's one thing that we have to bear in mind, that phases out affects auras and equipments as well. So, yeah, if you've got something that's going to phase out, equipped up, then the equipment is going to go out. So we actually can't Lightning Greaves our Araumi here, unfortunately. Slight oversight on my part, but as we can see, even with those on the stack, we can't sacrifice what we are treating as not existing. So we'll actually keep our Demon and the Crab here. Our friend Araumi has a frantic search of his own. Discarding Mere Battlesphere. The Stinkweed Imp for dredging. We know about everything else that's in the graveyard. And there we are, a Damnation. So the Lightning Greaves wouldn't have helped anyway, but that shows the relevance of phasing out there. We can replay our commander with haste, no problem. Might actually be of benefit that this is phased out, because they won't have the chance to go for Meteor Golem or something like that. They may have counter magic for our commander though. Now we have to sacrifice a creature. So let's sacrifice the Solemn Simulacrum, and that will draw us a card. I haven't had the best of luck with Mill here, so we don't have that many creatures in the bin. A Propaganda might be relevant. Let's just attempt our commander again here. And there is a counter spell, so I think we can just go after our commander again. And this time it lands. We'll put the Lightning Greaves over there again. And how's about, just for the fun of it, I should probably go for Solemn Simulacrum here just to draw more cards and ramp a bit more, especially if they manage to get rid of Araumi, but I do really want to go for Reefworm. So let's exile a land again. And then cast ourselves the Reefworm. Now this would be much better if we had more opponents, obviously. We'd get a bunch of Reefworms and it would be really difficult to wipe our board, because this thing just keeps replacing itself. We'll play out a basic island from the bin, thanks to the Crucible of Worlds. Hedron Crab will give us some self-mill again. Forgot about Hedron Crab actually, should have gone for the Misty Rainforest really. Okay, Kakusho should be really good. Let's see how much damage we can deal this turn. Swinging with everything so it all phases out again, just in case they've got another board wipe. Little bit of a nombo with Teferi's Veil and Reefworm, but I think it's definitely worth including this, because Teferi's Veil is the type of thing that is going to get removed, and then that'll kind of switch off the nombo for Reefworm, and we'll be able to take advantage of board wipes and the like. Crow of Dark Tidings now. Whenever it enters the battlefield or dies, mill 2 cards. That is a 2/1 flyer. Oh, and there's one that I really want to encore at some point as well, Broodbirth Viper. You get a lot of copies of this with multiple opponents, and you're likely to go wide and draw a bunch of cards with it. Let's go for Verdant Catacombs. I think we've got our opponent here. Yeah, they're one shy of Cyclonic Rift, so yeah, I think we've got them. There is Kakusho, we already know about, Stitcher's Supplier, Entomb, and Toxic Deluge. So why don't we grab a Feto Alchemist first, and we can hopefully take advantage of grabbing a load of stuff. No, actually, we'll only get one Feto Alchemist, won't we, because we've only got one opponent, so we can only untap our commander once. But it's an extra creature in play at least. Although it's going to get sacrificed at the end of the turn, isn't it? So this is sort of pointless now that I think about it. Put the Greaves somewhere else. Untap our commander. If we had multiple Effetto Alchemists for multiple opponents, then we could obviously take more advantage of stuff in the bin. Let's just grab a Kakusho here. Had a lot of people shout at me for not going for Kakusho last time. So go for the Encore. And doing something in response here. They have Torrential Gearhulk. They can cast an instant or sorcery from the graveyard without paying the mana cost. They've got Reanimate, Damnation. I think they might be... I think they have timing restrictions on that still. Although they went for a counterspell before, didn't they? Yeah, I don't think they can counterspell Encore because it's an ability, but well, we'll soon find out what their plan is. It is a Frantic Search that they're going for here. So that'll untap a couple of their lands. They get another blocker into play with the Gearhulk. Oh, that's curious that they've gone for... I would have untapped all my islands there personally because they all tap for black anyway thanks to there being 2 Urborgs in play. What did they discard? Got rid of Grave Titan, Scuttling Doom Engine, and a Mana War. Mana War would be a good one. Anyhow, Kakusho comes into play. That is a 5/5 with haste. How's about we tap down Emry, targeting the Phyrexian Triniform. And then we can cast that from the bin thanks to Emry. And hopefully this will allow us to go wide on our opponent. We'll put haste on the Triniform. And then swing in at our opponent with a bunch of stuff. We only need to knock them down to 5 here, because the Kakusho will do the rest. Blocking the 5/6 flyer and the 9/9 Triniform. So getting them down to 4. The Crow of Dark Tidings dies, so they mill 2. We don't have a sack outlet, unfortunately, so we're going to keep our Kakusho. Yeah, forgot about the Teferi's Veil again, so again, a little bit of a nombo. But I think we've got our opponent here. I'm quietly confident. The Lightning Greaves phases out again because it's on the Triniform. And we do not sacrifice the Kakusho like I thought we were going to. Again, forgetting about the Veil. We do lose the Effetto Alchemist though. Can't attack in if it's tapped. So they're just deciding to pass the turn through. I'm just going to do a bit of self-mill with the Verdant Catacombs. I think we've got 4 creatures in the bin anyway, but we'll just get out a Sunken Hollow. Hedron Crab self-mills as ever. Okay, there is an Archfiend of Despair, which again is really good with multiple opponents. Oh, it's actually 6 creatures, not 4 that you need. Alright, so let's sacrifice. We'll just sacrifice Kakusho to the Demon. There we go, taking them down to -1. So a big thank you to my opponent for actually bothering to stick around to play that out. You wouldn't believe the amount of trouble that I've had getting an Araumi game since the last one, where I threw away the game thanks to going for, I think I went for Wormcoil Engine instead of Kakusho. It was something like that, but yeah, this is the best that I've managed to do with Araumi. I will keep trying because it does seem to be a popular commander and I do really want to get a good game with it. But yeah, that's the best I can do for now. Christmas is rolling up as I record this, so I obviously have to get ready for that. Hopefully you all enjoyed it anyway. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.